Hello YouTube, Ronan Kazi with a comparison video between Eclipse protocol and my yellow vial jammer build. So I'm doing heroic falling cranes control point. The top is my yellow build, the bottom is Eclipse protocol. Eclipse protocol was my go-to in the Division 2. It was my go-to build all the time for everything. And I ran it with Creeping Death, and I ran it with Vial. In this example, I'm not using Vial on Eclipse because that's the whole point. If I'm going to use Vial on something, Eclipse isn't the best way to use it. I go down. Eclipse protocol, let me pull it up here on my other thing while you're watching that gameplay. Again, this isn't to undermine anyone or anything. I just want you to consider that there is a better use than Eclipse protocol. Oh, I want to load that up. Okay. So Eclipse protocol, what does it do? Eclipse protocol does the following. Your status effects now spread on a kill to all enemies with 10 meters and refreshes 50% of duration. On normal, hard, and challenging, you can get this to proc. If you're solo all the time, it's heavenly. If you're helping lower level people, this is the build I take. But it only spreads when you kill somebody. And when you're in legendary or you're in a group, you're not going to kill people as much. And that's why Creeping Death is the poor man's. That one piece replaces all of the pieces for Eclipse protocol. On the chest piece, proliferation increases indirect transmission range from 10 to 15 meters and refresh percentage from 50 to 75%. Right, that's minimal. The backpack piece, easy for you to say, Ronan, does the following. Symptom aggravator amplifies all damage you deal to status affected targets by 30%. That makes that shotgun build pretty awesome. But you're a glass cannon. So I have all the pieces rolled as status effects. So I've max status effect. It's just not as good. Again, the main thing it does, it spreads everything on kill. And Creeping Death spreads it every 15 seconds. It has a cooldown. Let me load that up over here. And so in Creeping Death, when you apply a status effect, it also applied to all enemies within 8 meters of your target, cooldown 15 seconds. It's not comparable. And without a vial mask, that's what I'm going to tell you. What status effect, the only status effect you're putting on people is the shotgun. You're not killing people. It's a yellow build. You can get yellow pieces that are much better than that. On top of this, on the top build, I have Unbreakable. And you could have a host of other things. But because I don't have a lot of sustainability, Unbreakable then becomes your sustainability then. You don't have that down below. Now, I was recording this earlier, and something happened in the Eclipse one, and I was shocked. And then I remember what happened. So I'm just about to kill the boss here, but I don't. And the stupid guy won't res me. So what happens next is a tragedy. So I go back to the house, and what happens, I have to start this all over. So as I'm running back, I still got to clear it out. I'm like, yeah, it's still there. I'm trying to jump on to the assaulting people. So in essence, this doubles the time for the Eclipse. That's just unacceptable to die that much. And again, I'd argue with you, if you need the vial mask to make your Eclipse protocol worthwhile, then why not just take the best pieces in class? Because the other thing that you're going to do is you're not going to be able to pulse that fast. And you're not going to be able to put, the only thing that's going to cause the status effect is Scorpio, unless you have other things. You're not going to be, it's like 12, 13 seconds on the one. It gets down, it's like 14 seconds. It's not bad. But that's 4 times a minute versus 5 times a minute. Again, on lower level stuff, Eclipse protocol works great because once you kill something, it just cascades to everyone. And you might say, well, if I built my Eclipse protocol, I'd have creeping death for the backpack and lose that 35% damage. And I would keep the chest piece, and then I'd have vial. So you'd have vial, you'd have creeping death, and then you'd really be stuck because you can't put the 4 pieces that you would need to do would be the gloves, the knee pads, and the holster, and then you'd lose out on the improvised gear and the benefits that improvised gear give you. And so I'm not trying to convince you. I'm just trying to say in all these videos, I've done a lot of this. I'm trying to make the most optimized build that the past 2 seasons, I do a lot of shepherding where I can help people the most. Because my expertise is at level 20, I'm going to need a shit ton of exotics to get it to 21. To get 6 pieces of armor to level 20 expertise would take, hordes and hordes of exotics. And what I'm telling you is I got to do those exotics. There's 3 a week. If you have 3 alts, you can get 12 a week pretty easy. It costs 20 to get 1 piece. To go from 20% to 21%, it's either like 15 or 20 on my turret. So you need them. So on the top, I'm already done now. And so now we're back on the Eclipse. So again, not denigrating the Eclipse. I might have said it's trash. It's not trash. It's not good for exotic or legendaries. I would tell you, if you're in a group, you're not going to get that many kills. You don't have enough skill power. Skills are divided into skill damage and status effects. If you think of status effects as damage over time, and skill damage is direct damage. If you think about status effects, they're great for area of effect, and skill damage is great for single target damage. So why do I need AoE damage? Because when I'm in a legendary or heroic, I need to put pressure on everyone so they don't rush me. And without, you see, relatively easy on the other build, I'm putting pressure out all the time. They're not coming in here. But I got to always jerk around with these guys because they're always constantly charging because I don't have enough damage to get them. Again, you're going to say, why don't you put Vial on it? It's the same thing. It's not the best build for it. Striker stands alone, right? So I'll tell you about a gear set Striker. You have those 4 pieces. There's not another single piece that does that. I talk about like Heartbreak or something like that adds armor. Adrenaline Rush is a piece that adds armor when you're near people. So that's something that's akin to that. If you're using that set for tanking, but you're not. The purpose of Heartbreaker is to put stacks to get more DPS, and on top of it, it gives you more armor. So Adrenaline Rush doesn't really do that. Creeping Death kind of takes away some of the glory of Eclipse Protocol. And here's what I'm going to tell you. When I first played the game, I didn't even care what was on my talents, on my backpack, or I'd get some of those name pieces. Your skills come back 30 seconds. How about I just have enough? How about I have enough haste that all my skills are going to take 12 seconds? I don't have to have some mechanic. When you're in a legendary, the one reason I'm not a big fan of tag team, it's a great piece, but you can't always proc it. And with Vile, I'm blocked out for 10 seconds. So if I get my skills back faster than 10 seconds, there's really no point because I can't proc Vile. That's the whole thing that I'm doing. So you could have two skills that with Creeping Death will spread. So use Blinder, Firefly, and EMP Pulse, Jammer Pulse. And while one's on cooldown, you can do the other one, and you can probably keep everyone close to every 60 seconds. 60 seconds out of 60 seconds, someone has Vile up on them. And on that build, I have it 77, so it's like 700,000. Let's just say it's 750K. So 20 seconds, that's 1.5 million of damage on reds, purples, and whatever. Those guys aren't rushing you. That's why I made this build. That's why other people do this build. And I didn't make this build. I'm not the one that discovered this build. I'm looking for builds where I can run legendaries and have a benefit in legendaries. I have a bunch of different Vile Jammer builds that go up and down the continuum to maximum protection to little best of both worlds to high damage, quick, high damage. So I'd just like you to consider that. If you're providing support to your group, there's a lot of different ways that you can provide support to your group. I have a red build that you can do healing because you have BTSU, and one of your pieces you're rolling those yellow pieces that have repair inherent in them. You roll them as red to get the damage. So that's an interesting build. With the little koala bear that you shoot backpack, you're putting 35% damage debuff on them. You're healing everyone. And if you use 3 pieces of... I almost die here. That would have been really embarrassing. If you use 3 pieces of improvised gear, I end up having 70 or 80%, depending on what skill I'm using, 70 or 80% damage reduction to elites. Again, when you're in a legendary, when a Chunga's coming, then that Chunga's hive isn't going to do anything to you. The damage is reduced to 80%. So, some things to consider. Always with all your builds, there's different things. This build is okay when you're having to do damage in AoE, but it's not the fastest damage. There's a lot of other builds that there's a lot less threat, so you can do a lot more DPS, and you have a lot more survivability in a heroic or a challenging or whatever. And then this build's kind of ancillary and it's nice. But Eclipse Protocol in story mode, it's beast mode. It's intoxicating watching all those people die. You kill one person and it wipes out the map. It's fantastic. Not in a legendary though. So that's this video. Could be wrong. I appreciate you commenting, and a nod to throw at anyone that likes Eclipse Protocol. It was my #1 build for a long time. I just wanted to do more of it all the time. Thanks again, Ronan Kazi. I don't even know my name at this point. Thanks. Bye.